Good morning and welcome. Starting the Kutei Torah, which is really a continuation from Torah but a different name. Parshas Pekudei. Very often it's read together with Vayakel. This week it's separate, this year, leap year. And it is Shabbos Chazak, finishing the whole Sefer Shmos. So Ele Pekudei Mishkan, Mishkan HaEdus. These are the numbers of the Mishkan of the Edus, which again is a summary of what went on in the building, the collecting, the constructing of the Mishkan. It's known the question in these psukim. Why does he say two times Mishkan? We know Torah doesn't use extra words. Torah is very, very accurate and specific, and even from the
Rashi says that it's a remnants to the destruction of two Mishkanim.
Oh, very nice. Okay, that's impressive.
Did I preempt what he's about to say, Rachel?
No.
Oh.
However, it's impressive that you said it. It's not impressive they were destroyed.
Two kinds.
But Mishkan two times. The Gama Shekosov Asher Pakad Al Pi Moshe. Also, it says Asher Pakad Al Pi Moshe. Ha'avalimim Asher Pakad Moshe. It's been counted on the words of Moshe, based on the words of Moshe. It should have said which Moshe counted. So why does it say Mishkan two times? And why does it say which he counted based on the words of Moshe? Okay. We also have to understand that he says Avedas Halevim, the Aveda of the Levim. Ma inyan Avedas Halevim shehesa b'masais. What's the idea of the Aveda of the Levim, which existed by the travels? Lisa as a Mishkan, to carry the Mishkan. You're talking about taking an account of the Mishkan, and you say this was the Aveda of the Levim. What's the connection? We're not talking about the Aveda of the Levim, the service of the Levim. We're talking about the constructing of the Mishkan, not about serving in the Mishkan. Especially, you're not even talking about the serving, you're talking about the carrying the items of the Mishkan. Why is that being mentioned here? So Mishkan, Al Pi Hashem, Al Pi Moshe, and by the words of Moshe, the mouth of Moshe. And why Avedas Halavim, which is all about the travels, carrying it, not about the numbers. Fourthly, V'gam Hashakos Avedas Halavim V'yadi Samar. Once you're saying Avedas Halavim, there are three families of Levim, and he says in the hand of Isamar. Why doesn't he also say B'yad Elazar? You just chose one Levim, not the other one? How does that make them feel? No, obviously there's got to be a reason.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
Yeah.
Feelings hurt and stuff.
You got to think about Eliezer. He's important too. Nobody thinks about him.
The idea of a Mishkan is the dwelling of the Shechina among the Yidden. That's what Mishkan is all about. We want to get the Shechina to be amongst us. I'll dwell in them. Heichal Hashem, the chamber, which implies a place of resting of Hashem. Hema. We want to understand these interesting nuances in the psukim, which are superfluous and extra words and mentioning things that seemingly don't belong here or omitting certain parts. We have to appreciate what the Mishkan is all about. Mishkan is about Shechina among the Jewish people. Like it says, I'll make for you a Mishkan, make for me a Mishkan, I'll dwell in them. The idea of a place for Hashem to dwell is similar to what it says that Hashem had a taiva, a desire to create the world. Meaning it came from I just want it. It's not specifically there's a purpose, this is what it's going to do, I want it. Which on the one hand it sounds like, what's the point? On the other hand, when you say it's I want, it implies it comes from a very deep place within your soul. Just like by a person, when you want something, it's essential to you. Certain things you do because you have to do it, whatever. It's just technical parts of life. But then there are necessities for other reasons. But then there's something which it's a deep desire. It's part of, your neshama just wants it. I like this. That's what I want. Hashem wanted to make a world because he wanted a dwelling place for him among us. That's what the Mishkan represents. We have to understand, what does this mean? You're telling me it's similar to the concept that Hashem wanted a home for him. Why do you want a home? Even without a home, it says, I fill the heavens and the earth. Hashem's everywhere, right? Fundamental principle question, what's the point of a Mishkan? Even if you want to dwell, you're here. So the whole place is your home. This dira is, there should be a revelation of godliness. That's what we mean when we say a home in a revealed sense. Yeah, Hashem is everywhere, but he's not revealed everywhere. But presence felt specifically in the Mishkan. That is especially in the lower worlds. When we say lower, we don't mean geographically lower and higher. Because Hashem is not in the category of space. He was up there, now he's down here. This whole space thing is a human
construct.
Yeah, I didn't want to say construct because Hashem created it, but there is up and down. Hashem is just not confined to that. From his perspective, it's all the same. So when he says up and down, it doesn't mean space-wise, rather it means level. Because of place, space is with me, meaning that Hashem says I'm everywhere. When you say up and down, in the level and greatness, that's when you say up and down. When you say Hashem was up, or the higher worlds and the lower worlds, you don't mean location, as far as Hashem is concerned. Rather, it means a higher level and a lower level. What's greater? Right? It's not up and down, it's greater in level, quality. That this low world is the lowest in level. It means it's the end and the purpose of all the levels of Ishtalshalos. That's why, because it's the lower spiritually, all of the Seder Ishtalshalos goes all the way down and comes to that level. Therefore, it's behester v'tzimtzum gadol. It's concealed and with a great contraction. And darkness covers the earth. And Hashem wanted it specifically in that space where godliness is most concealed and darkness covers over the earth. That's where I want to be revealed. To illuminate specifically the darkness. I'm not looking necessarily that my presence should be felt in heaven, meaning in the worlds where it's already revealed. I want to go to the darkest place and be revealed over there. This happens through Torah mitzvahs. That's how we reveal godliness in this world. That one moment of tshuva ma'asim tevim in this world is greater than all the life in the world to come. Why do we say that tshuva ma'asim tevim in this world, even for one moment, 1 hour, is greater than all of the life in the world to come? Which you say this maybe Chazal tell it to us, but the Torah underscores it and stresses it a lot. That tshuva and good deeds in this world, tshuva is a general sense of serving Hashem in this world, is greater than. I gotta open it up for a second. We pause this broadcast. So the illuminating the darkest place, which is this world, because it's after all the ishtalshalos, that happens through Torah mitzvahs. And that's why we say it's better to have one moment, one time of tshuva ma'asim tevim in this world than all of the life in the world to come. Because life in the world to come is not illuminating darkness as much. It's a pretty spiritual place. You illuminated Gan Eden. You didn't even do it because you can't really do Torah mitzvahs there. But mitzvahs you definitely can't do. But when it's in a dark place here, that's where it's at. That's what it's all about. V'hinei hamshachas dira zu, yeah, the line starts with chaye. V'hinei hamshachas dira zu, bringing forth this dira, v'gilu zeh, this revelation, hu al yedei di skafia sitrach d'davke. This is specifically when you subdue the other side. How do you bring forth this dwelling for Hashem? How do you make this godliness revealed here? It's through subduing the other side, meaning the impure or the Yetzer Hara or the animalistic or the selfish, whichever term you want to use, is trying to do something or is pushing the person to want something, and I bend it and I say no. Right? He wants me to, I don't know, steal, and I say no. That is skafia, is causing a revelation to happen. Shehu Yetzer Hara. The other side is the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. That when the Sitra Achra gets bent, then the glory of Hashem goes up over everything, meaning the glory of Hashem rises, meaning it happens. First stage of this process is to bend. The Yetzer Hara is there, it wants something, and I'm bending it and saying no. After that first step of bending it, then comes transformation, where I turn the Yetzer Hara around and now it wants good things. Now that's obviously a very high level. Most people don't reach it in a holistic way, but it does get easier. So Al Rebbe says sometimes a Beinoni, this might be your struggle your whole life. Like, never a tzaddik. You always contend with the other side, and that's our life. That's our aveda, to be a Beinoni, to try to be a Beinoni. But we're dealing with a real Yetzer Hara every day. There is a stage or a possibility or some kind of scenario where it gets transformed completely. Obviously, when Mashiach comes, that happens. There are certain people like David HaMelech. It says that Libi Chalal Bekirbi, he killed his Yetzer Hara. He eradicated it completely. This idea of being able to bend and then transform, using a general term, it's like, how do you do it fully? But in small ways, it's possible. In small increments or in small examples or different scenarios, you can transform something from being a struggle to using it out for good.
This must be what inspired the bending clay child's toy, Gumby.
Not familiar. Tell us more about it.
Gumby? Gumby. Somebody remembers Gumby. He was so cute. It was like a little green bendy toy.
They didn't have it in Russia or in Chicago. Where did you grow up?
It was definitely in Chicago.
Okay.
On the Schultz.
What is it? It's a person?
It's like a
character?
little toy, it's a claymation thing. Yeah.
So that's only a skafia. They didn't do his hapcha though. I guess you could turn it over.
There you go.
First, you have to have bending it, subduing it, and then you have the level of transforming chashucha l'nehira, darkness to light. Now, what's this idea of iskafia, of bending? In iskafia zu, it's in all the five senses. We do this subduing. Kimay b're'iyah, for example, with vision, sight. Eitzem einav mera'is bera. He shuts his eyes from seeing negativity or bad, evil, impurity, whatever goes in the category of ra. Sometimes a person is focused on something negative, whether it's someone's fault or it's something you shouldn't see, whatever. It takes a certain active effort to close my eyes from it and not allow myself to go there.
It's beautiful. One of my favorite stories, is this Ma'aseh of Baal Shem Tov, where he went to a neighboring shtetl for Shabbos. He was walking around and he noticed a yid commit a particular malacha. All of a sudden he was struck by this tremendous surprise. How could this be that I'm seeing such a thing? So what did he do? The next Shabbos, he went and did an accounting of every single one of his own behaviors until he found that one malacha that he was completing.
Yeah. Very good.
Mirror principle.
Yes. Nice. Exactly. So it's in all five senses we have this process. Shutting one's eye from seeing, then as well as in hearing, in speaking, umayis, and in action, and also in thoughts, umidas hanefesh, and in the midas of the nefesh. Kadesh atzmecha b'motelach. Chazal tell us you should sanctify yourself with this which is permitted for you. Now, kadesh or kadesh, holy means separate. So even that which is permitted for you, you should still sanctify yourself with it. Meaning, just because I'm allowed to, let's say, eat ice cream, should this be my drive and my interest, and that's my life, right? Nothing wrong, it's kosher. I bought it with kosher money, it's kosher food, I made a bracha, it's not Yom Kippur, everything's like, if it's milchik, I'm not fleshik, everything is kosher 100%. It's permissible. But, am I being holy with this act or not?
Yes.
Okay, then you're good, right? You could do it in a holy way because it helps you after a meal, or you're spending time with somebody, or you're relaxing. There's a purpose, there's a drive, but I want to have fun for the sake of fun and pleasure, and that's, so there's subduing all the senses, and then there is things which are permitted. It's not bad, it's not shutting your eyes from seeing negativity. There's nothing here that's bad. It's permissible. It's just, what's the point?
What's forbidden is forbidden. What's permitted is not necessary.
Exactly. That's a uniquely Hasidic concept. It's in Yemei. Rabbi Nissen Nemenov, who was a shpia in Bernois, originally from Russia for many, many years. When he was a bacher in Russia, he was overseeing some of the yeshivas, fully responsible as a student still because of his real Mesiras Nefesh and intensity and his. They said about him that he's a Beinani. But in any case, he would use the example for a skafia. He would always tell a bacher, you don't need ice cream. There's no value to it. It's not like food. You have to have food. It's just fun. You don't need it. And he always, whenever he would harangue about the concept, his example was marozhene. It's Russian for ice cream. Marozhene. You don't need marozhene. You don't need marozhene. Always, always, always. Anyway, sometime, I don't know, it was in France, America, Israel, somewhere, he was at a wedding. And they put him at the head table. And they served the first course, second course, whatever it was. Dessert was ice cream.
And he ate it.
And he ate it. And some bacher was a little chutzpahnik, comes over and says, listen, marozhene, ice cream. He's like, this is it? This is marozhene? He didn't even know. I was sitting at a thing. I'm not here to show anything, to prove anything. We're talking about how to behave. For him,
It was a pure theoretical.
For him. Yeah. So there's a skafia of the five senses, but it's not just for forbidden, it's even for things that are permitted. There should be the concept of kadesh atzmecha b'motelach. Now here it's important to underscore that in Yiddishkeit we don't have this focus to separate yourself from materialism. In other words, what's the term? Aesthetic? Is that what it is?
Ascetic.
Ascetic. Not to be an ascetic. In other words, the goal is not, if it's material, if it's physical, then I don't want it. The goal is, am I using this for the right reasons or not? Okay, so in Yiddishkeit, it's a mitzvah to get married. Food is an integral part of how we serve Hashem, but there's a purpose, there's a drive, there's an intent, there's a way that it's done. So it's not stay away from it, it's elevated, as opposed to just on your own.
There's a great joke about after the war in Dresden, there was a Yid sitting next to a priest, and the priest turns to the Yid and he says, Yid, I don't know if he said Yid, he said, Jew.
Rebbe Yid, he probably said.
He said, listen, he says, did you ever in the war eat non-kosher food? And the Yid says, well, there was a time I was in the camps and I was in the kitchen and everybody left and I was starving to death and there happened to be a ham and cheese sandwich right there and terrible, I just ate the sandwich. I succumbed and ate the sandwich, And the priest looks down and looks up and goes, sigh. And the Yid looks at the priest and he says, so priest, he says, did you ever happen to have relations during the war? And he says, oh, well, there was this one time I was in the bomb shelter. And he says, I was down below and, the bombs were falling left and right. It was just me and this young woman. And well, yes, we happened to...
you have.
And the Yid looks to the priest and he says, Now, wasn't that better than a ham sandwich? Rabbi the priest, yeah. Shalom,
I'm going to give you another version of that we could use actually online.
That one's kosher to use, no?
It's kosher. Very good. Point is, you could elevate things and have to. It's actually right on target with the topic.
Exactly. That's why I said it's kosher.
100%. Okay, so Kaddish Azachal Mutalach means like sanctify yourself with this, which is permitted for you. Through this process of doing that, you'll come to a level of transforming. That the five senses, and his thought, which is not one of the five senses, will be mamish, klila, and seif baruch, will literally be a keli for the infinite light of Hashem. That's why he says about the Jewish people, they are a chamber of Hashem. So what happens is like this: when a person works and subdues the other side, meaning five senses and his thought, and he focuses specifically on serving Hashem.
Why so loud?
Sorry, Rabbi.
When a person does that, eventually he comes to transforming these five senses and his mind. They become vessels to serve Hashem. So till now, it's, perhaps you could say this, connected to the fact that Baal Shem Tov says that when a person's hungry, it's really his neshama that wants to elevate holy sparks. So I feel a desire because I want to make chapel. Like, it's the spirituality that's driving. Now, I'm coming from a level where I have to fight with my five senses, not to use it for negativity, not to use it just for indulgence, but I keep bending it, which brings more revelation of godliness. And the more I do that, now it's being transformed. Now these five senses are tools to bring holiness. Not just this act became a tool. These senses are transformed. They don't tell me anymore, come, let's do this, kosher stuff. It's coming and telling me, come, let's go have a Shabbos meal. Come, let's go share a meal with someone, whatever it is. If you're using food as an example. But now they're tools to serve Hashem, as opposed to challenges that are pulling me the other direction. Point is that our goal is to bring the Shekhinah here. That's Hashem's desire, specifically here because it's the darkest place, and that's where He wants it, to reveal the dark, to illuminate the darkness. You do that through Torah mitzvahs, in both parts, doing positive and refraining from negative. The refraining from negative, there's a skafia, and hopefully we can get to this hapcha where we transform it completely. Mental senses become tools to serve Hashem.
Give an example of the skafia. Of the transformation.
There's a bacha, we were in yeshiva, there's an older bacha today, he's a mashpia and all the Sternberg. We were going on with Tzayim, we're the French train station, waiting for the train. And he says, back in Russia, how do you think they did a skafia? What should the mashpia tell him? Don't eat to it. Don't eat the ice cream. There was no ice cream. Don't eat the, what are you telling you? You barely had food. He said, at night, when you go to sleep, don't rub your bottom of your feet. Just itch it and scratch it. Do a skafia, hold yourself in. Don't scratch those.
I remember that.
The point is, it's not even there's no necessity. It's purely.
I meant to ask, not as skafia, but it's hapcha. Yeah.
I think foodie is an example.
A foodie?
A person that
Major rounds already?
I'm very, very into geschmack of food, for example. I think about it, I plan it, I'm into recipes, I'm trying. My meal, my lunch, my dinner, there's hours and hours of work that go into it. There's focus, my whole day is around that. Not thought what I'm going to eat, but actually working on it. Doing it and getting to it and so on. Transformation could be, okay, how could I eat in a way that serves Hashem? In other words, what's the healthiest way? That's my drive. What's going to give me the most energy? How could I do it in a mitzvah way where I could do it with somebody else, for example, or in fact, quality time with us, for example.
Yeah.
And so he starts from, I got to stop being so into the Gashmias to, hey, I have a tool that I could use to.
Instead of the gashras being self-serving, it's